Good morning. I have just been dropped off at the place where I kind of left the trail yesterday, in the middle of this beautiful, beautiful town of Cave Spring. I woke up at 6 o'clock and I went to sleep at 4 o'clock because I kept on looking at my phone constantly, looking at these different trips, researching these different trips. I got really distracted with that. My self-control is amazing. And next thing I knew, I couldn't actually go to sleep until 4. So I'm hitting that 2-hour kind of sleep. And it feels weird, but I still feel ready to go. I think I'm gonna crash pretty hard this evening though. And guess what? It's not one of those nonsense town names. This is the cave, I think, somewhere past this door. That's the spring. I think I'll actually get my water straight from here. So this is Cave Spring. You cannot see too much at the moment, but nice, pretty cozy small town. Everything's really close by. I think the major store is only just up that street. It's just a good place to be. Unfortunately, I won't be here for long. I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. It's dark as hell despite it being 7 a.m. What a weird time zone this is. And I have a 30-mile roadblock ahead of me. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, this is gonna be such a weird day. I'm gonna be happy when it's over. Oh, I completely forgot why I loved waking up early so much in Florida. Look at that. Look at that sunrise. In past parts of my life, times when I wasn't going so well, I actually used sleep deprivation as an alternative to alcohol. It's a lot cheaper and sometimes it actually makes you money. 3.5 day resupply obtained for 25 bucks. Very, very cool. I'm just absolutely thriving on this roadwalk. I think it's just because I've had so much experience with roadwalks in Alabama and in Florida. I just know how to live on them. I know how to really survive on them and have fun. Which is kind of unfortunate because I still don't love roadwalks. I'm hoping to get better at walking in mountains and having fun in those. I suppose I have plenty of time ahead to get used to them. Here I am on the first of 2 long roadwalks in Georgia, and this has actually been fine. Like, this has been the worst the trail has been through this roadwalk so far. It's completely fine. People complain about this, but it's just all solid, big, fat shoulder. And then before I had sidewalk. How often do you get sidewalk on a roadwalk in the United States? Almost never. I didn't have sidewalk through half of Montgomery. And then before that I had a shoulder which was like wider than the one in the Keys. The shoulder which was like this whole breakdown lane, right? Except the breakdown lane was wider than the highway itself. I mean, this traffic is kind of annoying, right? But apart from that, luxury, complete luxury. Eastern Continental trail hikers will have no problem with this. People who want to do the Appalachian Range, they might not love this section. They might really not love this section. Definitely the worst part of the Pinhoti so far. Just trying to ease the boredom by watching the vlogs of other ECT hikers like Jupiter and Masochist and Anna and Fire. It's been a pretty decent time. So, roadwalk sucks, but I'm doing pretty well under the circumstances. I was going to walk for a bit longer before taking a lunch break, but outlets, overpriced soft drinks, what's not to love? This guy who was working nearby, I think, just gave me 20 bucks, and this other guy who was a local bought me food, which I'm eating now, just after sitting at this petrol station for a while. Southern hospitality really is a good thing. I was worried about finding stealth spots on the roadwalk, but It looks like the trail is following this for the next 15 kilometers, which is perfect because I can just camp on the sides and have a nice easy walk without traffic. Quaint, nice communities full of aggressive dogs, loud trucks, and falling buildings. This kind of feels like the Alabama road walk again. So when I was talking about the skin in my heel splitting, like cracking, this is what I was talking about right there. So it's a fairly deep gash that actually kind of hurts if I put pressure on it. Well, not very much at the moment, but it's a bit of an annoyance. Good morning. Feeling slightly more refreshed after that sleep. And I've also made sure to stock snacks in one of my side pockets so I can actually eat while I'm walking, which I've never done before. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm just about to walk into a ridge line, and there's a very electrically charged storm just completely bearing down on me and actually turning the sky pretty seriously darker. So I think I might stay here for the next 20 minutes or so and then climb the ridge line in the rain. The main adjustments I'm making from the last storm is not wearing my shell jacket, which kind of soaked last time and completely froze me. It's a bit warmer today, so I'm hoping that it's going to be fine to walk through the rain. If not, I guess I'll get hypothermic again, but I just cannot lose too many days on this. So far, interesting experience. All my clothes are pretty wet. That being said, I'm not really wearing that many clothes, so I actually feel pretty warm, pretty good to keep on going, which is a great change. And I've just been walking on this ridgeline for the last hour or so. As you can see, not too many views through the mist, but the ones I've seen have been alright. I feel like the Georgia Pinhoti is definitely more discounts than the Alabama Pinhoti. The Alabama Pinhoti was almost all trails, like constructed proper trails which were blue blazed. Here you sometimes have some white blazes, they're very inconsistent, and a lot of it is just following tracks like these. And I don't really mind them. I don't really think that a lot of Americans like to drive on tracks like these. They certainly seem pretty quiet. But this is publicly accessible. I've been passed by hunters. So, yeah, just a bit less of the nature experience, you know? This really skilled ultra runner who has set the time limit on the calendar year Triple Crown has been trying to do a speed record attempt on this trail. So he was going to do this entire trail, the Pinhoti Trail, in I think 6 days or 5 days. But I just looked on the tracker he put on his Instagram, and yesterday morning it didn't move, and then after yesterday morning he deactivated it. So that kind of makes me think that he's failed the mission. And he appeared to have gotten about 200 kilometers down the trail or so. So that's pretty unfortunate for him. Well, this ridge hasn't been the worst. Apparently it's along this ridge for not much longer, around half an hour or so. And then I just cut out to the east and summit a whole bunch of ridges to try and get to the next town. So I think I'm just going to camp on top of the next ridge. I'm tempted to say at this point that the Georgia Pinhoti Trail is worse blazed and signposted than the Alabama road walk. I complain, but the trail isn't terrifically bad if you find a way of sticking to it. So, yeah, I'm not having too much suffering. Just walking between two ridge lines here, so I think the one ahead of me is the one I'm camping on top of. Need to be a bit careful here, I suppose. Haven't seen any other hikers since entering Georgia, which is not too surprising, to be honest, because it's kind of gone from a proper trail to sort of a barely marked route with some trail sections. Just got passed by a troop of Boy Scouts. I used to be a scout myself. Isn't this just the best spring you've ever seen? Like, zero indication of any kind of creek, and then... Aha! That might just be the best waterfall I've seen in the Appalachians so far. So unfortunately, the Georgian Pinhoti gets pretty contrived. I went north up a ridge over there, and then I turned and went south for like an hour down a creek. And then I went north again up another ridge, and now I'm going south again down another ridge. And after I'm finished with that other ridge, after like another hour, I'm gonna go north up that ridge. I think the trail covers like 15 kilometers, where it could have covered only about 3. But that's alright, actually. This ridge walking has been quite nice. It's been really good to have some views and some real trails, like solid, genuine trails, which I haven't had too many of. I eat when I'm walking now, and I eat about once an hour or so, as opposed to eating maybe 2 or 3 times a day. And it's really made a massive difference to my energy levels and the amounts of time I'm spending on trail. I got up fairly late this morning, but that's alright. It's around 9 right now. Tent still needs to be backed up, but the city is right there. Look at that! Dalton, here we come. Welcome to the road walk. Right, time to find a spot to stealth. There should be some forest I'm gonna dive into in a moment here. Here I am at this place they call a spring house. So there's an enclosed spring right here you could bathe in. Apparently this entire thing was covered by a roof. And then over here we have the ruins of the little spring house itself. And I am so tempted to stealth camp here, but I think it's just a bit too close to civilization. And it's also a bit too obvious that I'm doing the wrong thing if I stay in here, so I might just have to go off into the woods. Note to self, the 6:30 morning rush hour is the literal worst time for road walking. There is no shoulder, there is no verge, and the road is so narrow that the traffic comes very close. So it's not exactly ideal, but hey, what can you do? Just hit 3,000 kilometers outside of this Dollar General. And the sign showing it is also gonna be my victory prize. Well, time to finish the road walk and head for the hills. And those are some big freaking hills. A lot of these park agencies in the United States seem to have a bit of an obsession with these cartoon character things like these animals. Which is kind of funny, it's kind of 70s-esque, although I guess that makes sense because a lot of this infrastructure was unfortunately built in the 70s and hasn't been updated since. Almost completely unsignposted. I think I've seen about 3 or 4 Pinhoti Trail markers and pretty much 0 places all day, so you definitely couldn't follow this without a map. I'm still enjoying it though. It's all been really nice and actually really easy so far too. Just cameled up on water so I could survive the dry section over this mountain. I haven't seen anyone all day really. I mean, apart from farmers and such on the road walk. No hikers. I haven't seen any hikers in a while. I've stopped filtering water a little while ago. That might come back on the Appalachian Trail where there's more people. Nice hills, but it's starting to get really cold despite it being still a good few hours of daylight left, so I think it's gonna be a super cold night, definitely below freezing. I've been eating a lot of these recently. They definitely aren't very common in Australia. I don't think I've really seen them in Australia, but they seem to be really popular in the United States. Like this kind of bar with fruit filling, like this really soft bar with the fruit filling inside. This is the best brand I've found yet. Found a tent spot, it's been a good day. I really like how the vegetation is changing, like I'm seeing plants I haven't seen before here. Let's set up the tent before I freeze to death. It's pretty cold, so I'm rugged up in every layer I've got. I actually had a pretty good sleep though, so I'm happy my system works. I think it's about something like 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Pretty chilly. Couple blowdowns on the trail nowadays, but I can step over most of them pretty easily at least. After a bit of creek hiking, I'm at the highest point of the Pinhoti Trail. And I'm also only like an hour away from the end of the Pinhoti Trail. It's been good. I've heard maintenance gets better pretty soon. Last river wade on the Pinhoti. Nice spot. Well, this is probably the most random place for a trail to end that I've seen yet. It's kind of in the middle of the forest. But it ends here because here is where it joins the Benton MacKay Trail, and the Benton MacKay Trail goes all the way up to Springer Mountain, which, if you don't know what Springer Mountain is, you don't know too much about the Appalachian Trail. That's where it starts. So I'm just gonna follow the Benton to the Appalachian Trail, and then the Appalachian Trail to Katahdin.